actually behaving themselves. That opportunity is reward itself. All right, so and I guess to button that, to make it more complete, the opportunity to rest is something that they've learned they get when they quit. When they quit when you ask them to quit, not when they do it on their own. So it's something that is a very powerful motivator for dogs. Number 5, the opportunity to enter a space. I've said many times before, space is an actual commodity that dogs vie for, personal, territorial, and positional. So with Yonkers, a little puppy, she's like, with food, she's so food motivated, she actually breaks the stay too early. She has a hard time holding it together if there's food nearby. And she's only 16 weeks, but she just kind of loses her mind. So what I do is I teach her to sit and stay before she's allowed to leave the pen and be able to run around the house. I have gotten much more success with that. So I make her sit stay, and I crack the door open and go, stay, 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 stay. If she moves, I deny that opportunity to run around by closing the door on her. And I get her to sit again really quickly. If I have food, she'll resist sitting for a little while. But if I've denied her the opportunity to run around, which is her most favorite thing ever, 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 right now, other than stealing shoes that are bigger than her, she gets the opportunity to do that. And I guess stealing shoes is also part of that. Only if she sits and stays. So I've gotten much further on the stays by using the pen door and the opportunity to enter a space and run around. So this is something else that you should consider with your dog if this is really important to them. Number 6, the opportunity to hang out with a pack. This is huge. My mother did this crap to me all the time. If you don't do your dishes and you don't do the other chores, and if you don't get your homework done, and if you don't do this, and if you don't lick the toilet with your tongue, blah, 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 you don't get to hang out with the family and watch movies. So, it's called ostracization, but kind of harsh for kids, not so harsh for dogs. They actually operate this way quite often. So, for this situation, you're going to inspire your dog to be calm around other people by making sure that every time they start jumping on people or rubbing up against people or starting to gnaw on the kid's hands or whatever, the dog has to be crated or put in another room with the door closed and ostracized. Not with anger. Don't make it positive punishment. This is called negative punishment. By the way, all these examples are the flux and flow of positive reinforcement as well as negative punishment, and they have to come together. So negative punishment means you remove something that's pleasurable, i.e. in this case hanging out with a pack, and your punishment means you're decreasing the behavior, which means you're trying to decrease the jumping and the biting and the, chewing on the couch and whatever else they're doing, okay, in the hanging out the pack thing. So you can use that desire to be part of the pack, to be, even if you're doing nothing but watching TV together, you use that desire to hang out with the pack as a reinforcer. So that opportunity to hang out with a pack is something that you should deny or delay based on how the dog is behaving. And that is called negative punishment. I remove the pleasure of hanging out with us awesome people if you're acting like a jackass. All right, number 7. The opportunity to observe an activity. Now, 6, 7, 8, and 9, they're really related. I mean, you can kind of these together, but I wanted to be more specific just to help you kind of recognize these things. So, number 7, the opportunity to observe an activity. Let me explain this one. My previous dog, Kazi, loved to herd squirrels. She was not a prey drive dog. She didn't care that much about catching them. She just liked to watch where they were going, when they were going. She was very bossy that way. So if Cassie and I did a really good training walk or hike or training session where we did a lot of distance and duration and complicated behaviors and complicated sequences when we got into movie production, one of the big rewards was to go hang out in the backyard and just rest and watch the squirrels from behind the window or on the lanai. So we just hang out and watch the squirrels run around in the backyard, and she wouldn't chase them. That wasn't the reward. It was just we got to do something. She thought, of course, as a dog, she thinks that I care about the squirrels, so I just rode with that. I just used it to my advantage. So when she did certain behaviors that were difficult for her, and it was in the afternoon, I would reward her with like, let's go hang out. I would pet her and we'd do downstate and we'd just kind of relax and watch the squirrels run around the pool and stuff like that. So it's a way to actually, just like it's rewarding for us to hang out with somebody we care about and to observe activity, go to a movie, watch TV together. We're not necessarily doing anything directly with each other, but to actually enjoy something together even though you're not interacting with each other. That's actually a reward, the opportunity to do that. So for dogs, it's usually to observe activity, to observe something like squirrels or whatever. Now, if you have a dog that gets all riled up about squirrels and wants to kill them, this may not be something you can use. This might not be a rewarding thing that actually increases good behavior. So you have to pick and choose your opportunities there. Number 8, the opportunity to compete for a reward. So one of the things you can do, if you have multiple dogs, i.e. more than one, you get them to a certain level of training, one of the things I use is competition to help dogs learn faster, do faster, try harder. And so, for instance, with Rambo and Yonkers, both of them know how to sit, both of them know how to do a down. So I will do both of them with both hands, asking them to do a sit. Good. Whoever sat first gets the treat. Then I ask for the down. Whoever does the down first gets that treat. So it's a way to kind of inspire them to do it faster, harder, more often, etc. So it's you use competition, so the opportunity to compete, and that's a whole nother hormonal level for dogs. That because they really do respond to a pack. It's important to them. So the level of that excitement for the opportunity to compete for that reward is much more powerful once you get them to a certain level than if you just work one-on-one with them with the rewards. So I think the most dogs I worked with is about 7 who were over a year in training in film production, but getting the one to sit and stay and watch you, and the other one to lay down, and the other one to crawl closer, but the other one knows that if they stay, they get the food, as opposed to, and they're not worried about being closer to me, etc. It's really fun to work on competition once you know they're at a certain level. Never push your dogs to compete with each other where they might actually get into a fight. You want to actually have some control. So only use competition where there's going to be safety involved. We don't want to use competition to necessarily have them attack each other over a ball. But that's one of the things that people do all the time, by the way, right? Is to throw the ball and see which dog gets it first. That one already rewarded themselves by going faster, longer, etc. So using competition as a way, and the denial part in there is that they didn't get the treat for that behavior because they weren't fast enough. And at first they may not get it, but if you're consistent, about 3 or 4 behaviors in, they figure it out really fast. You still say good, they just don't get the treat because they weren't the first one to do it. So, number 9, the opportunity to have pack leader or alpha and dog focus time. Okay, so for instance, if I have Yonkers and Rambo running around and Yonkers keeps stealing the socks I keep taking out of her mouth and redirecting her and instead of me getting frustrated, I'll just pick up Yonkers and put her in the crate. Well, that's one level of removing it, and right in front of her we'll start training Rambo and he gets to have treats right in front of her. Yeah, I'm evil that way. But having that focus time actually allows the dogs to actually work harder for their behaviors. So now I don't have to get upset, and there's no reason to do that. You just find a way, just like ostracization, all that put together, you find a way to make it that. So when it comes to it, and using a less sadistic, method for some of you, this would be very heartbreaking to you. But it works, and it doesn't hurt anybody. But another example of that would be actually your one dog's acting out, whatever, or if you have one dog, it's behaving really well, you take the well-behaved dog for a nice leisure walk where you guys get to sniff a lot and hang out and So you have calm behavior, relaxed behavior. You're going to reward them with good things, and tell them, good, you're very relaxed, good job, there's somebody here at the house, you stayed in your bed, you didn't go bug the guest, The guest leaves, you reward them by taking some special time with them, by doing some kind of activity together and focusing it right after they've done that good behavior. So I would do that with Cassie because I didn't use a crate. I used a bed, and she was such a, people whore, especially men. So if somebody came to the house to visit, getting her to lay down and stay and not lose her mind was like, a monumental achievement. But I shaped it without food rewards by, actually, if she stayed, good job, you stayed, let's go. And then it was playtime or walk time or whatever. And she knew that at the end of that whole sequence of somebody visiting and she staying on her bed and not molesting anybody, that she would get a huge reward at the end, which was focus time with me. So she gave up being able to hang out with me in the person to have special focus time and activity with me. It's a really powerful reward. That opportunity itself is a reward. And so because of that opportunity, and I'm going to explain a little more with opportunity. Opportunity implies there's hope for something. And that hope has duration to the motivation they want, that fine. It's that duration we're looking for. So when we want complicated behaviors especially, we want sequenced behaviors especially, the opportunity for a great way to channel your dog's ill behavior into something that is really positive, calm, confident, relaxed, and focused on you, as opposed to, I'm going to get when I want it, how, this way, blah, blah, blah. Okay? So, just to keep your eyes open. What motivates your dog? What do you want out of your dog before they get what they want? Deny or delay the gratification. And remember that a very opportunity to get what they want or to get a reward that's important to them is itself a reward, is reinforcing. And denying that opportunity is a way to use negative punishment, the opposite of positive reinforcement, to actually shape your dog into doing good behaviors, calm behaviors that you've wanted all along. Think about any behaviors you got at home with your dog that you don't like, and think about the context. What happens? Do I have the dog jump on me and then I say off and then I start petting the dog? Well, if that's the case, what are they getting at? What's the opportunity they're getting? They got to touch you and you went ahead and pet them anyway. That's over rewarding. So look at the patterns of behavior, look at your dog's motivation, and figure out how you can have a opportunity, deny or delay that opportunity to get what you want, something that's more conducive to the whole pack, i.e. you. So anyway, that's all I've got to tell you about the reward of opportunity and shaping things without necessarily having food and toys all the time. Something you can train, and something you probably trained your dog to do by accident, usually for not so good behaviors. So this concludes this week's episode of That Dog Training Show. And as I always say, to love is to serve in the dog world. So give your dog little ways every day to serve you, and you will have served them well. I'll talk to you next week. Bye.